Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today we're going to be fermenting blueberries. I've never tried this before. It's blueberry season, and I got a bunch of blueberries at Costco and figured that I would try to do a bunch of different ways of making them, preserving them, and just playing with blueberries basically. And the first thing I'm going to try is just fermenting them. I'm going to try, this recipe is from like the Noma Guide To Fermentation, I think is what it's called, Sandor Katz's book. And this one is a really simple, really basic recipe. So all we do is we just take 2 kilograms, not 2 kilograms, 1 kilogram of blueberries. And I've already kind of washed them off and rinsed them and all that kind of stuff. And then and so all we do with that is we just put it in the bowl, and then we're going to add to it, we're going to make it a 2% brine solution. And so to do that, we're going to want 20 grams of salt. That's one reason that it's really convenient to use metric when you're using fermenting, because it's really easy to get the percentages and stuff. So all we do is we just kind of put the salt on the blueberries and mix it up. And it does kind of help to rinse off the blueberries, because the water helps the salt to kind of stick to them. And so I'm just going to do that. And then I'm going to use this, it's just a flip top jar. And what they recommended to do is use the flip top jar and remove the seal from it, because I guess it's going to ferment pretty quickly, and so it'll create a bunch of carbon dioxide, and we want to make sure that that can escape without me having to come along and burp it. And all of my pickle pipes and stuff are being used for something else, so we're stuck with using this. So we're just going to put it in the jar. Oh no. Okay, and so with this we want to make sure that we're getting all of the salt out of the bowl and into the jar. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we want to weigh this down, and I don't have one of my regular weights, so we're going to do something a little different. And these are going to sink down in there really quickly. And so what we're going to do is, you should make sure that this is a 2% ratio, but I'm just going with kind of sort of close to it. And so basically what you would do is you would just kind of calculate it out at like, you know, you take the water and then you would figure out what the 2% of that is and do that by the weight. But anyways, my point is this is going to sink down quite a lot pretty quickly. And so we're just going to put this on top here. And we might even later on down the road, we might have to add more salt and more water to this. But for now, this is just going to have to work, because that's all the salt I have. We have our Ziploc bag filled with our brine solution. It's just water and salt in there. And the reason you want to do that is in case it pokes a hole, it won't mess with the salt ratio inside of the ferment. If it does get a hole or anything like that happens to it, then if it seeps into the ferment, it's not a big deal, basically. So you just want to use the same stuff that you would pour over it. You put it in the bag, and then it's not an issue. So basically what we just have this big jar, and it's filled with the blueberries. And then as time goes on, this whole ferment should take between 3 to 6 days, according to the Noma Guide To Fermentation. And so after a couple of days, we're going to start tasting this, and it's going to start to sink, because the salt is going to start to draw out the water that is in the blueberries, and it's going to start to make it form kind of a bit of its own brine and its own liquid. And so it's going to kind of sink down a bit. So we might have to add a little bit of extra water to this, but for now, this is all that this will hold. And I don't have a larger phytostyrol jar, so we're kind of just stuck with this one. But this is going to work perfectly fine. And so basically what we're going to do is I'm going to set this in the corner with the rest of my lacto fermentation things that I have going on right now, because it's safe to put all of the lacto fermented stuff in the same area, because it has the same type of fermentation starters and yeasts and bacteria and stuff like that. It's all very similar, so you can put it together. And so we're going to do that. I'm going to put this in the corner with the rest of them, and just going to check back on this in a couple of days, and I'll bring you along for that. So just to show you, it is the next day, and it's about a day and a half, and the liquid level has come up to about here. And right away, almost, I was able to actually seal the jar, and not seal the jar, but I was able to close the lid and fit all of the water inside of here. So you don't really need to worry about that. You know, it's just going to be a day, at least it was for me. And so anyways, it's basically day 1 progress right there. Okay, so we're at day 3, and you can see the brine inside has reached to about here. So nothing has started to form on top. I don't see any kind of mold anywhere. It's still doing okay. Okay, so day 4, the brine is up to about here. And I haven't actually tested it or tasted it yet, but I think I'm gonna do that tomorrow. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and test out the blueberries. It is up to about here. Hasn't gained a tremendous amount of liquid. We are in day number 5. Okay. So let's test this out. I don't know how I feel about that. It's pretty bland. I think it's safe to say it needs more time. It tastes like salty blueberries.
Salty blueberries.
Yep. Another day on the blueberry. Brine is up to about here. And I think starting tomorrow morning when I have the time, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more to this weight here so that it's kind of pushing it down a little more. But we'll take care of that in the morning. All right, so now we are ready for our taste test on this. I have taste tested it one other time. It was a little bit too salty still. So I went ahead and just let it go for a little bit longer. If you're looking in here, you can see there's no mold. I don't know if you can tell, but just looking up close, you know, because I can see it up close, there's no mold. The brine has gotten to about here. So it's about a little more than a third, I would say. So what we're gonna do here, we have a nice clean plate over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out. There's a couple little pieces that have a little bit of mold on it. And it's just like it's a little teeny piece of like fur looking stuff that's in there. Yeah, it's bound to happen after a week. This stuff is just not wanting to ferment. Okay. So I think the rest of this is just fine. All right, so we're gonna taste test this. It makes me wonder what it tastes like down here, like in the brine. Okay, I think I got some from deep within the brine. I almost wonder what the pH level is in the brine. Find out, shall we? I don't know if the purple color will change it, but... Oh yeah, you can't test that. It's just purple. Okay, you can kind of see through the purple a little bit, and I think it's about a 3.6. It's definitely not like up here. You can see, I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of tell in person. So I think what I'm going to do with this, I think I said I was going to do this earlier, but I never actually did it. Oh, there's a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add more brine water to this baggie so that it can really kind of weigh it down. And I really want to get some of the enough juices out of this to cover up the blueberries. Okay, there we go. It's been a few days since we checked on our blueberry ferment, and now we're going to go ahead and check on it again. See if the salt has kind of mellowed a bit and see if these are ready. As you can see, It worked adding in the adding more of the brine. Oh, that's on the screen. So adding in more of the brine into the baggie worked, and it has totally submerged the blueberries, and they've been submerged for a day or two now. So we're just gonna check on them and see what is happening in here. It's definitely mushy. There's no mold. Smells like blueberries. Okay. They're definitely mushy. Mmm. Mmm. Effervescent. I like it. All right. I kind of want to try it again. Okay. Oh my gosh, that is so good. This one, I think I'm gonna go ahead and let it go for a couple more days, maybe like 1, maybe 2 days. I think it is really good. It's effervescent, it's still got sweetness to it, it's got some tartar, has some tartness to it. It is just delicious, but I think I can do better. And I think if I leave it for just like maybe 2 more days to ferment, I think it's gonna be even better. So we'll see in a couple of days. So now we're ready for what I think is gonna be our final taste test on the blueberries. And I'm gonna probably, I would imagine after this, I'm just gonna put it in the fridge because I think it's done. Okay. It's all bubbly. It definitely seeped out. I don't know if you can see in this dish here, but there's a lot of liquid that seeped out. Okay, give this a try. Mmm. I think we made blueberry wine.
Yeah. That much? Really?
Just taste it.
Okay, you're giving me this much, it must be pretty good then.
Tastes like blueberry wine.
Okay, all right. Take your word for it.
Oh, don't put it back in the jar. What?
Oh man.
See, it's blueberry wine.
Sort of like a blueberry wine with a salt.
Yep.
Salty blueberry wine.
Yep.
Like you're eating like a saltine cracker.
Mm-hmm.
And you take a quick sip of blueberry wine.
Yep. I should have stopped the last time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all right though.
It's good. I'm gonna eat it.
It works.
It's good. It's just not what I expected.
Yeah, you could blend it with other food.
Yeah. Or you could just get drunk sitting here eating it.
Unusual taste.
So the blueberry ferment is definitely a win. I would probably say maybe just a hair less salt in the finishing product, but honestly, I think at least for like sweetness and fermentedness, I probably would have pulled it last time I tasted it. It was very effervescent. It was very bubbly. It was not quite as alcoholic as this is here. I think I let it go. I'm gonna have to look back and I'll go ahead and put here how many days it was when I taste tested this last time, and that was pretty much perfect. And we're in the middle of summer here. My room is fairly warm where I keep these at. It's nothing crazy, but it's certainly not a cool area. I mean, this is a win. Like this, you could seriously sit here and you could get in a pretty good mood if you just had a couple spoonfuls of this stuff. So this is the recipe from Sandor Kat's book. I think it was the Noma Guide to Fermentation, just salt and blueberries, and that's all we did to this, and just let it go for a really long time, probably just a little bit too long. But anyway, so this is how you do it. This is kind of the results of it. And if you want to make blueberry wine, you could probably do it this way. But this is really tasty. You could use this in making any kind of a cocktail. You could totally put on top of ice cream. Oh my gosh, a nice adult ice cream right here. You could add this to, you could just eat it out of the jar. It's really good. That's probably what I'm gonna do after we're done shooting this. So if you are curious as to how to ferment blueberries, this is how I fermented blueberries, at least one of them. And I have other blueberry fermenting and canning recipes that are coming up in the near future as well. So be sure to check those ones out when they come. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and comment as well. Let me know what you would like to see me try and ferment. And also, if you have any recipes that you want me to go ahead and try, or anything of the sort, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye.